evening, November Foxtrot.
Evening,
welcome. We're obviously joined this week by James and that way, Kevin from Defiant Events. Welcome on, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Pleasure.
That's all right. There's a few people already joining the chat. Hi, Damien, James, Les, Nick, Harry, Sean.
Sure. No. Hello, mate. Long time. There he is, King Rage of Trangia. There he is.
Have you guys used Trangia, or do you own Trangia?
Cooking stoves? If you don't speak to Rage.
No, a bit of a jet boiler myself. Unless I'm playing Op 4 and then it's the old Kelly kettle comes out, you know.
Oh, fair play there. Nice.
How about you, Kevin?
Jet boil as well. Easy. I'm going to go for quick and easy, definitely.
It's not too bad if you're solo with them. It's when you've got like 9 of you and you turn them on. It is literally like a Harrier fucking horizontal takeoff, isn't it? Where are they? I can hear them.
So, guys, do you want to introduce yourselves? Tell us a little bit about you. What got you into Airsoft? What's your background? We'll just go straight for it. We'll go in.
Do you want to go first, Kevin, or do you want me to go?
Yeah, you go first, James. I'll follow in.
So I've been involved in the Airsoft scene about 15 years, which is fuck all compared to Kevin, because, you know, he's a dinosaur. But, I started playing about 15 years ago just with friends down the local sites, sort of progressed into marshalling, head marshalling, and started running kind of invite-only games down there, like 24-hour games. The site themselves used to run 24-hour games, and it was 1 year they said they weren't going to do it, and I said, well, can I do it? And that was it. That was me caught the bug for writing events. Basically decided that at some point that's what I wanted to concentrate on, and long story short, that's sort of how Defiant was itself born. That's me.
Yeah, so I started playing the same site James eventually marshalled at down at Worthing in the south coast in England. Started playing there about 24 years ago, late 90s. I moved on from the local site, started to do some of like the MilSim events, did a lot of Starling events as it was at the time, Airborne Airsoft now, which is now Legion, played across the country. New James, you invited me to one of your sort of 24-hour events down at Worthing, because obviously we knew a lot of people from there, so we got invite down there, and just got playing with James, doing his events, liked what he was doing. There's little bits different about what Defiant do compared to other event organisers. A lot's the same, but a little bits are different, and sort of got the bug. Obviously, first lockdown, we got talking. And after a bit of a break, James, I twisted James' arm a little bit, I think, at this point, to get back out there and start doing Defiant again. So obviously once lockdown started to ease, we got our first event about a year ago, April last year. Did 3 events last year, and we've done our first this year and got 2 more in the pipeline for this summer.
Ooh, that's exciting stuff. We like the sound of that, very much so.
I'm very much looking forward to your next one.
Yeah.
Well, is it? I mean, we're both virgins to a Defiant event.
Yeah, we've not been yet.
Which is complete fucking shame on us, really. We're hoping to change that very, very soon.
I mean, I'll accept your apology when I get your booking to the next one. Right?
Just come
money talks with James. Money talks.
I don't fuck about, mate. I don't fuck about.
Absolutely, no, shame on me. Absolute shame on me for that one. Oh yeah. No,
so first question I've got. Obviously, the logo is epic. What's the background behind the hog? I assume it's a hog or a boar, or
yeah, it's I was going to put a flag up behind. Do you know what? I cannot figure out this camera. It seems to be all over the fucking place. Yeah, it's a boar within a spearhead. Do you know what? So when back before Kevin was involved with Defiant, when I was convinced that we should go and do our own thing, one of the guys that convinced me was Nathan Cottenham. He runs Afraid of the Dark. He's a very, very good designer. we were talking about company logos, wanted something catchy. Actually, this is the old logo. We've changed the colorways about now. We have a grey ball with a red spearhead. But we wanted something that represented the word defiant, and the most belligerent and obtuse animal we could have thought of was a boar. So that's what we went with.
Fair play. Love it. Very nice.
It is a nice logo, I must admit. I was a little bit envious when I saw it. So that's cool.
So one from me then. Where it comes from, you guys obviously sort of collaborating, started doing your events. Was there ever sort of like a moment where you thought, is this going to take the enjoyment out of the sport that got me into doing these events? Did you ever sort of have any doubts before you sort of like took the plunge and thought, no, let's really go balls to the wall with this and start knocking these wicked events out for people?
I think it does change your perception. You start off playing events, and even James and I would say we both got this connection with Worthing, and even before James played that, now the previous site owner who's now sadly passed away, I would run events down there as well, 24-hour events. I would literally have people come on the Saturday. This was and take all the money. He would turn up Saturday night, and I would give him money. So we actually got running the events on the Airsoft site you played on, but weren't running sort of different events that you wanted to do. So I think it was the case that when you start, you do lose a little bit of you don't get to play as much as you want. I suppose technically we try to run the events we want to play, but sadly we don't get to play them.
Which is fine by me because I'm shit. Totally shit. So yeah, I'm better at shouting at people than I am shooting, honest.
I mean, but going on from what our listeners have said in the past, when your name's cropped up in previous episodes and that, they said, "Oh, their last event was really good," this, that, and the other. I mean, do you ever find that you're sort of organising, you're running the event, whether it's Op 4 or Blue 4? Is there ever any element of the game throughout the weekend where you're sort of sitting back thinking, "Fucking hell, I wish I was playing that bit," or we've written this bit a little bit too good. I actually want to be involved in this bit now, actually playing it.
Do you not know? The biggest thing that I get out of it is seeing people interact with the plans that we've put out. Those set pieces that we run. Seeing people engage with that and have their little twists and takes on things, and then hearing the reports back of how well it went, or potentially didn't, and then being able to learn from it and adjust. I take a lot from that. I really enjoy that side of things.
Yeah, I think on our last event at Tungsten at jail, we had like a convict actually been brought into the site. A lot of people turned around and said it's like, oh, it would have been so good if that could have been ambushed and he could have been taken out of that as well. So one of the things that we do is our stories have got like two possible outcomes. Each part's got two possible outcomes, and we might run so this piece I'm thinking of at the jail was run. And people were using their own cars. So we had decided there was going to be no guns in the game firing at this point because people were using their own SUVs, which they were happy to do. But a lot of people were thinking, oh, something's going to happen. At Dog Tag last year, we did a Shura event as well. And Task Force came in really, really apprehensive. They put security in. They were watching from afar. They had a drone above. And it was me sitting there as some old man doing this Shura with them. And it was just all tension. And they sort of sat there with the idea that we made this really, what was it, rose tea or something, James?
It was rose tea from India. Yeah. It was skanky. It tasted like
well, I'm guessing JTF had to drink it out of respect then, every last drop.
Pretty much. It was like toilet duck and potpourri had been mixed together. It was foul.
So yeah, Lance, you're completely correct. So Task Force came in, this tea on was produced, it was all poured out, and they sat there waiting till I drank from it first as respect to the elder. So just little bits like that were priceless. But so what we all the village elders, this Dog Tag, there's one of their structures like a castle. So all of Op 4 were taking this high ground position above, and Task Force DS came in on the ground sitting on this sheet. It was really intimidating. Nothing was going to happen, but it was designed to create that atmosphere and some intimidation. Yeah. There was huge firefights afterwards, and the normal sort of like combat mission stroke airsoft event, and everyone got the trigger time. But at that part, it was just building up a bit of tension and a little bit of unknown. And I think that's what we try to do in our events.
Just poke the fire a little bit and then just let the flames build up themselves, sort of thing,
Definitely, yeah.
Wicked. That sounds quality. Love that.
I think Rage was obviously at that event because he says that tea smelled like dead bodies and wet dog.
I've still got some left if you want any.
So what's at the basically Andy has said, what do your events entail? Explain your events.
Well, that's a very broad question, and you're not going to get a single answer to it. The event itself, it depends on the storyline that we've put in. It depends on the site itself. It depends on the length of the event. Generally, what we try and do is involve some level of role play. Right, we're quite big on role play. We're massive nerds. We're all LARPing anyway, so let's embrace the idiot.
We love a bit of that, don't we, Mike? Particularly Mike being an actor.
I love role play, and I must admit the key defining when I think of a Defiant event, the key thing that I think of is there was the image that you guys posted on your Instagram, I think, of the press officer with like the gashed up leg.
Oh, that's my wife.
Oh, is it your wife? Oh, no
yeah.
way. So yeah, I can fully agree with the realism of the LARPing and stuff like that. That looks awesome. So
it's got to be done. It adds an element to it, doesn't it? It really does.
Yeah. So yeah, we do a lot of the role play stuff. We'll have interactions like Kevin alluded to there between Task Force and Op 4. We'll hype the tension up, and then we'll crack it, right, and then let them loose at each other. That's kind of where it goes. Now, we might be changing that up soon. I've got to keep you guessing. When you expect an ambush to happen, it might not, because we think that stressing you out is funny, or stressing the players out. It is hilarious, watching people like on eggshells, on the razor's edge, waiting for stuff to kick off, and just thinking, no, it's when you relax. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, we might be changing stuff up soon. So we've got a 36-hour event. I think we're going to go into that quite. I think we're going to have action quite soon, and then try and find a way to draw back out, and then initiate role play. So
nice.
Yeah, we're going to mix it up a bit. But whatever we do, there will be role play. Task Force is generally a very well structured side. So you'll have your sections, you'll have your zero, all the kind of Task Force multi-glam loveliness that we all love. Op 4, generally a little bit looser. They have the opportunity to almost build their own activities and objectives with guidance from the DS.
Yeah, absolutely.
We trust our players. We've got quite a lot of repeat players that come back, and they know what we're about. And to be fair, they are a godsend, because they guide the newer guys, the newer players, into how to behave and what to expect from our events.
Yeah, no, it's good. If you get that main base set up of players that keep coming back to you, it only helps, and it helps you to run a successful event, doesn't it? Obviously.
I was going to say, Lance, one of the events we did last year down at Worthing, we did a 24, and it was sort of Russian PMCs working with mercenaries in Central African Republic. All our stories have got a slight real baseline to them, and Task Force has put OPs out. So we were doing like PMC training these African military, and we're training them on like vehicle debus and responding to ambush and like close protection. So, but a couple of Task Force OP teams had got in, and it got to about 80 meters. So they were actually, when we were doing our fire and movement in this sort of like role play scenario, they were sitting there and rounds were getting close to them, but they had the foresight and that role play element of actually not engaging and keeping down and keeping out of the game, but actually letting it build in front of them. So they were sitting there going like, fingers on the trigger, guns were ready to fire, checking with their zero that we might actually be under attack. But this went on. We trained to the left of the vehicles, to the right of the vehicles. We didn't know where they were, but they sat and watched the whole thing. They got great footage of us. They identified the people as DS and stuff as well. So they did all the recce stuff they had to do.
That's
but
wicked.
There was people firing in their direction, but not at them. And that's just there's an element of how long can task force actually maintain their discipline? And they were superb. All the players that played on both sides played the game perfectly.
Brilliant. That's what you want. Exactly what you want. It just gives that element of immersion as well, especially if you can get, like you just said, then you can get a recce element set in place, actually feeding back information, dripping information back to zero, and 9 times out of 10 that can enable another tasking to be carried out. Do you know what I mean? That you might not have foreseen in the planning stages of the event, which is always good. If you can add bits in there later on, it just keeps it mixed up, doesn't it?
So Ray just said we were all first-time Defiant guys at Dogtag last year. I'm really impressed. Highly recommend you. So
thank you. A lot
of love for the Defiant guys.
Yeah, they were in Rage 3. That was their call sign then. I remember it well.
Okay, I guess did Rage insist on that call sign though?
No. We tend to number Op4 as Rage for some reason. Just did.
He must have loved that.
It was Rage 1, 2, 3, 4, however many. Yeah.
Fair play. No, cool.
I had no idea of his Instagram name at the time. Otherwise, I would have named his call sign Cuddle Bunny 3 or something stupid like
that. Nick Pratt says, "What's the FPS limits and mag/BB limit, please?"
So we don't do FPS. Simply because FPS is a measure of speed, not force and power. So we measure in joules. So 1.14 joules is our limit. Generally, 1.14 joules is your sort of full auto limit for LMGs and AEGs. 2.32 for bolt action rifles, and I can't remember what the hell it is for DMRs. I'm sorry, but it's all your standard stuff. So it's your 350, your 420, and your 500. Okay, on a 0.2 or equivalent to. We don't do ammo limits per life. Okay, we just expect people to be sensible. It's mid caps only. So unless you're going to go around carrying 14, 15 mid caps, you're not going to get through an awful lot anyway. And the way we structure our events is you won't be in firefights if we don't want you to be, generally, because we will be initiating role play or setting you off in taskings that won't necessarily degrade into a massive firefight. If it does, then you won't get the support and you'll end up having to pull out anyway. So we haven't yet found a situation where we've been stuck in and absolutely hammering through rounds unnecessarily. At least not mid-event. Everybody has a good blat up at the end. Let's be fair, because it wouldn't be Airsoft if we didn't.
No, absolutely.
But yeah, we do try our best to manage it through, and that's not to say that you don't get stuck into a fight, because you certainly do, but it doesn't degrade into a, dare I say, a skirmish.
So different sites and different games, different rules. So at the jail, when we did Tungsten a couple of weeks ago, it was single shot inside and outside, because the jail is such a compartmentalized area that full auto anywhere would detract from the game. So we wanted that element of skill, because of CQB, looking after people that no one's going to get laced up accidentally in full auto. So single shot throughout that site, exactly the way we plan to do it. Our woodland events, you've got your structures at dog tag. Once you get close to it, turn to single shot. Just that common sense, and that's of like fair play and decency in the game, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
So obviously, you just referenced that you do both like indoor and outdoor games. What would you prefer to organise? Like what would you say is your favourite?
Woodland, rural stuff every day of the week. Sorry, it's the background for Kevin and I. It's where we come from. It's where we're most comfortable. Unless I can hide behind a bush, I'm not happy.
Yeah. I think as we said, we both started off playing at the same site with about a 5-year difference time spot point as well. Our backgrounds
and the rest,
are
Kevin,
the same.
come on.
I've been
lie
nice
about
to
your
you. For maybe 8 or 10 years. We've come from the same sort of background. For us, that's our sort of genre. When we did our events last year, were all woodland. James turned around to me this year and said, for events this year, he goes, "Get me concrete." So we reached out to the jail. We reached out to Camp Sparta.
When we complete our events, we quite often put out, or every time so far, we'll put out a little form. So we'll send you a link out to a feedback form, and it's like, what did we do well? What could we improve on? What team were you on? That kind of stuff. And a lot of the feedback we were getting through last year is, we want urban, we want CQB, we want fibula. So we went out and found some concrete. So yeah, people want it. We'll make it happen.
Fair play, mate. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but you can't beat a woodland event. I'm not gonna lie. It's my favourite. But Mike, you're urban, aren't you?
Well, I like a mix of both. To be fair, like,
God, you're such a politician.
No, it's not a politician. I like the kind of the proper like stealthy approach to buildings and stuff like that. So if you can like creep up into woodland, whatever, and then sort of sneak into buildings, and then you can kind of like a mix of sight. That would be my preference.
Yeah, I suppose that would be the grail, wouldn't it? Really, of like having a larger forested area to sort of be classed as like a proper woodblock for an event, as well as having like that nice urban sort of township going on, which is cool.
Andy Bob's been on. He says, "Do LMGs?" He loves an LMG. Do LMGs get any bonus over normal assault weapons, like a higher FPS, longer full auto trigger pulls, things like that, or do you just lump them?
Um,
So,
sorry, he just says,
do
do you lump them in with just an AEG?
So as we said, each of our events and sites, we use them slightly differently. So for instance, Camp Sparta, we're using single shot inside and outside buildings, but the only people that can do full auto outside will be your LMG gunners and support gunners. So we're giving them that role and use outside. But if 4 guys turn up with four support guns, one of you, not all 4 of you walk in with support guns. So we want to try and keep it realistic. But in that situation, in that event, your LMG gunner does have an advantage.
Yep, that's a fair one. So with that being said, go on.
Sorry.
No, off you.
But obviously with the FPS limit, that full auto still works into the 1.13 joules as well. So no change on that one.
Right, cool. Oh, look, it's like a man of red wine. Wonderful, love that.
Interestingly, we've put a weight limit on our LMGs, and I can't remember, was it 3.5 kilos or something like that? Because companies are coming out with polymer bloody M249s, and like,
you mean like the M249 featherweights, James?
Yeah, that's not. No, that shouldn't ever be a thing. No.
In my defence, I also have a GMP Stoner. But
so the GMP.
Yeah, but you don't keep both of them, do you?
The GMP Stoner. All right, I'm going to be controversial because Kevin's got a GMP Stoner and he loves it. Right, I hate them. All right, they're too light. They're too light to be a support gun. Right, there wasn't enough of them made or used to be a military simulation weapon. Okay. Harsh truths. No, it's my personal opinion.
So that's the end of this episode. Thanks, James, for coming on.
Can I come back next week, boys?
You're fine, Kevin. No worries.
Thanks, guys.
We purposely set the weight limit in our rule set low enough to allow Stoner LMGs, because Kevin's got one, right? And things like RPKs.
Right. Okay.
So, that statement there is my personal view on things. And then
fine.
All the while that Kevin is part of Defiant, I reckon that will be remaining. I
think my 249's all right. My 249's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, yours weighs a ton.
Yeah, I think I'll be all right there.
That's all right. We can always strap some bricks to your little featherweight thing. Fine.
Yeah. It's a shame it's not a real stock, like a solid oak back stock. So I'll just like fill it with like resin, and just let it set hard. whilst he's getting his head down for a couple of hours. But like, fucking hell, this is heavy.
There's some fishing weights in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, would that be acceptable if you had a lighter weapon, as long as you meet that minimum 3.5?
Yeah, yeah, I'm not too bothered as long as
People
as
just
long as
strapping
you,
like
as long as you
rebar
can't,
to it.
I was going to say
yeah,
you've
as
got
long
to
as you
keep it
can't
looking
strip it
realistic.
down, yeah,
You can't just have like a
Yeah.
kettlebell hanging underneath it.
yeah.
Yeah, so if someone rocks up with the M4 with a box mag and they put a scope on it and a PEC and extra batteries and they make it 4 kilograms, sorry, it's still an M4 with a box mag. You're not using it as a sport gun.
Yeah.
If it's a recognisable sport gun, so somebody comes with like what's the Russian one? AK-12 is the normal Russian rifle, but AK-16 is the sport gun. And you can buy the LCT one with the box mag. It's a Russian gun with the box mag. It is a proper weapon. Yeah, bring it to our event. Have a great time with it.
Fair play. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've not heard that rule before, and it's an interesting one, and I don't disagree with it. Although obviously my S&T.
Well, apparently you do.
No, I haven't got a problem with it at all. I think it's great. Andy, funnily enough, the guy who asked the question, he runs he's at M249, like weighs like 20 kilos or something ridiculous like that. So.
A real
and it's a
man.
power as well.
Yeah, he is a real man. I mean, he wears like weighted plates and everything like that. Honestly, he's just a freaking beast. But
He is
I'm
an absolute
wimpy,
beast.
so yeah.
Yeah, you can't have all the advantages of an LMG and then wield it like a Mark 18. It's not right, is it?
If your 2-point sling's not cutting into your neck when you get back, where it's just hanging in front of you, then yeah, it's not done. It's not done its job right.
If you haven't got backache within 2 hours, it's not an LMG.
That's it, exactly. You're not if you're coming back into your harbour area and just chucking it on the floor and going "fuck this." That's when you know it's done its job.
That's it. LMG gunners should be the grumpiest guy on patrol until the firing starts. That's how it should be.
That is me. That is me.
I was going to say, Kevin, I agree with you. I don't think I'm too far off that either. So.
I'm even
going back to you,
I don't get to use it. As PS, I don't get to use it enough now, I'm even grumpier.
What you mentioned earlier, Kev, regarding sort of like structuring like a squad with having like you wouldn't allow sort of like 4 249 gunners to be in like one sort of section. So with your events, then do you sort of actually set out prior to the event of like what your squad makeups will be? Do you allow X amount of riflemen, one LMG gunner, for example, a sniper and a spotter in what sort of one section, like one 8-man section? Would you typically have that already set out prior, or would you? Yes. Is that just something?
So we don't know. Not normally for our events, we book in like a team. So say you get a team like Grey Fox comes, 12 of them, they'll be one section. Now, knowing them as players, they wouldn't turn up with 8 support guns and 4 Mark 18s.
Yeah,
they would be probably the other way around. They'd probably like 2 support guns and 10 416s with a sort of Navy SEAL sort of look as well. Couple of teams are thinking of would rock up, and there's like 6 or 8 of them. There might be 2 support guns, but most of the guys, they've got the support gun, but they've maybe got 2 M4s or they've got an AK. They won't be using it all the time, so we've never had that problem. Merlin is the first time we put this rule in there, so I think we would just be looking as sort of DS on each side as you start on the Saturday morning. Look, guys, that's a little bit OTT. Have you use it, but let's all not use them at the same time.
Yeah,
it's a little bit unfair on everyone else.
Yeah,
and if you've got task force and they've got say top cover guns, and if they're going down with like 4 Land Rovers with top cover guns against like guys with just like AKs or M4 not 4 as well, same again. We will look at it and we will say, look, that's a little bit unreasonable. Let's sort of roll back a little bit.
I think. Yeah, what Kevin's alluding to there is just a sense of fair play. Our guys that play, they swap teams. They'll go from Op4 to Task Force and back again. They play alongside the guys that they play against, and there is respect amongst them. Like I said, we've got a very good base of repeat players. That's not to say that we're not open to new people. We certainly are. We love having new people along, letting them see what we're about and giving them a good time. But they need to pick up from the kind of older hats that have been with us a little while to learn what we're about.
Yeah, 100%.
A lot of it is we're all there to have fun, not necessarily to smash the granny out of each other to the detriment of somebody else's enjoyment.
Yeah, definitely. At the end of the day, we're all there to enjoy the event, aren't we? Exactly that. No, that's cool.
I've had a few comments come in. There's a weird one from Mike Brewer. He just says, "You make me hard." So,
Who?
thanks, Mike.
Is that James?
I don't know who he's replied
Who?
to specifically.
No.
It's just maybe it's just a general thing from
yeah,
Captain
just gets-
Slapfuck. So
Or Lance, is it you made it? Maybe, you know?
probably, mate. It normally is. So I'm gonna take that one.
Damien says, "I enjoy my M2, my 249 Para Full Metal version, but yes, Grumpy Old Man by 3 hours."
Yeah, standard, absolutely.
Perfect. Yeah.
Andy says his is done, so it weighs the same as real steel when fully loaded with .32s.
Mm.
Manpower. Well done.
He is more of a man than me. I'm not going to doubt that. Les says, "Would you allow a mortar team or a mortar per section?"
I've no issue with that. I do have issue with some of the ways in which mortars are used. We have a mortar, you know. Defiant has a mortar that we
two,
will.
do we not? Yeah, two. Yeah.
We have two. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
We do provide mortars and pyrotechnics for our players to use
Ooh.
once they've had a safety brief on how to use it properly. Because all of that direct fire, you know, level nonsense is a bit of a no-no. But yeah, if you want to bring a mortar along and sit through another 45 minutes of my safety brief, then no, I'm joking. But yeah, you're more than welcome to.
60 minutes.
Oh, wicked! Yeah, I mean, we're just preaching to the converted on the lateral firing mortars. We're not a big fan of those in this show.
Yeah.
But
Never seen them shoulder mounted in the real world before. Never seen footage of that trying to take place.
No. Anyway, let's get away from that one before I say something I regret.
Well, there's a roll-on question to that. So Nick's asked, "What are the rules with regards to tag launchers?"
Tag launchers, yes.
Yeah,
So,
love tags.
So at our events, tags are allowed if the site allows it. Okay. So for instance, Merlin up at Camp Sparta, their rules, because their site is so next to like housing, they don't allow anything. They don't allow percussive bangs outside buildings. They don't allow percussive bangs inside buildings.
Right.
When we went to the jail last weekend, same again. The site rules is Mark 4s rather than Mark 5s for noise levels on sites. When we went dog tag last year, there was tags going down, working within the site.
It was raining tags at dog tag.
It was raining tags at that one. But then again, if the site puts down a pyro ban limit, noise ban limit, we will always honour the site's request for that. Hence why, we used dog tag last year. We had the arrangement for the site last year. We've got more use of the site this year. And Ross turned around and he said to us, like, yeah, you guys come back in. He goes, do you want exclusive use? No, we don't want exclusive use. Obviously, SEO are using that this year as well. But we want to keep a good relationship with these sites because we want to run our events so that you guys can come and our players can come back in a good event. So we won't challenge, we won't break the rules that are set for sites so that we can still run our events.
No, absolutely, mate. Yeah, no, fair play.
Sorry. Terry says, Lance, I've seen a 51mm used
with tags. We don't do that direct fire thing.
Yeah, the direct fire.
Yeah. No, totally agree with that. So with that, then, I mean, obviously, from a MilSim point of view, I mean, I've not got a tag launch. I mean, I am really close to that sort of close to getting one. I don't know how to put it. So if you had like a mortar section a mortar team within a section, so if they've got their X amount of pyro that they'd carry for that. If I was in sort of like, say I've got my UGL under my M4, would there be a restrictive limit on the amount of pyro I could carry for that, or could I like essentially run around with a backpack full of rounds and whatever I wanted with it, or has it got to be, come on, be realistic? Do you know what I mean? I mean, because I've seen it, I've witnessed it. I've seen dump sacks full of Mark 5s, just like one after another going out, and thinking, is there a realism to that? I mean, it sounds wicked. Don't get me wrong, boom, boom, boom over a wall, but essentially you'd only have sort of 4 bits of pyro in a real situation, I'm guessing, as a sort of an average, couple of frags, couple of smokes. So where do you sort of guys stand on that for the sort of realism side of an event?
Is James frozen?
I'm back with you now.
No.
I was struggling there. Yeah.
I'll summarise Lance's question.
Well, no, that's all right. Just get Kevin to answer. I feel I've
there you
spoken
go.
enough. I did hear what you were saying about pyro limits, but let Kevin do it.
Yeah. So with pyro, obviously, I say with sites will give like a time limit. You know, yeah, I agree with you, Lance. It's like the person that rocks up with the, you know, sponsored by Enola Gay, box of 500 Mark 5s, comes up the weekend, throws them over every single wall. Yeah, that's not really within the ethos of that we would look for our players.
Mm-hmm.
Say we did our urban event. It's one of the things we're looking at moving on from our urban events. As James said, we always take feedback, and I must admit, apart from Defiant, I've never been at an event where I actually get the chance to give feedback. I've done our events. I'll pick up the phone or message or WhatsApp and say, "Oh, Lance, had a great weekend. Really enjoyed your event the weekend. Thanks very much. Come back. I'll come to your next one in April." So you do that in WhatsApp with site owners as well, but never the feedback form. But I think from Tungsten, I think we will look at that to make it. It was one comment that came up was about that of like this unlimited pyro. So I think it's something to look at.
What Kevin's trying to say is that we have yet to have an internal argument about pyro.
Leave that there then. I mean, I've always been in the mindset of like just having like a couple on me of each, like whether it's a combination of 3 smokes and a frag or 4 frags or whatnot. It's usually no more than sort of 4-ish around that sort of mark.
Again, it's a lot about not acting in a way that is detrimental to other players' enjoyment. If you want to go and put 50 bangs into a room, you know, then yeah, it's not a great way to have other people's interest in mind, is it? But we still have to have that discussion based on the urban or the CQB operation that we ran a couple of weeks ago, where we want to go in the future. You know, so we'll see.
Yeah, no, cool.
Well, talking of the future, so Fresh Meter says can't wait for the dog tag event.
Red Tide, yeah.
And then Rage has asked, question, can you share any details about the 36-hour event in the summer?
Yes. Right. I can. I'm not going to, but I can.
Mike,
is this where the image comes up?
Yeah, I was going to say, Mike.
Yeah, go on, throw the image up.
There we go. So talk us through the image.
So yeah,
you can't do that.
As I said earlier, one of our team members is Nathan Cottenham, who is afraid of the dark. He is a very good designer, and when we gave him the brief for the event and said, you know, it's Central America, it's counter narcotics, give it a Colombian Central American theme, but operator it up a bit. This is what he came together with, and we love it. We think it's awesome. In fact, many of us. I think
you met the brief there, yeah.
Oh yeah, many of us. We're going to have this in posters straight in our man caves because we think it's really cool.
I think that'll make a good T-shirt as well, wouldn't it?
I just, you know, I was literally just took the words out of my mouth.
We've said that. Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't.
Yeah.
I want the T-shirt.
Yeah.
Well, if there's interest about T-shirts, maybe we'll put some on the website for attendees to purchase when they purchase their ticket. That, you know, by pre-order, and then you can collect them on the day. Maybe we will see.
There you go. There's an exclusive right there, ladies and gents.
I mean, it looks like a Guns N' Roses cover, doesn't it?
Exclusive, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. If you're interested in that event, Red Tide, it's early June. Was it 3rd to 5th? So it's we're getting an extra couple of bank holiday days on the Thursday, Friday, thanks to the Queen's birthday, on the Friday night and going through to Sunday morning. If you're interested in that event, if you go to our website at the moment, you can sign up for a mailing list, so you will know. Well, can't remember how it works now. I think you'll get the first opportunity to book in. So you'll be able to book in before it goes public, if you know what I mean. Does that make sense?
Yeah, nice.
So you'll get your early bird ticket if you sign up to our mailing list.
Fair play. Sounds good. I'll be on that in a minute.
Is there?
I shouldn't have given it out yet. Let us book on first.
DefiantEvents.co.uk.
Oh dear.
and as always, you know, we've sold out a few events. We do not put reserves in place for people. You know, it's first come, first served. It's the only fair way to do things.
Yeah, fair enough, mate.
So
Good
that
one,
we haven't yet sold out on Merlin. There are 16, 17 task force places left for Merlin. Op4 sold out. Apparently we made Op4 cool, and Op4 sells now faster, for us at least. Op4 sells faster than task force. So who'd have thunk
there we
it?
go.
You know? I know.
Yeah, like that.
But there's still some task force places. There's plenty to get stuck in with.
So Op Merlin, when is that?
Oh geez, it is Easter bank holiday weekend.
Easter weekend, yeah, Easter weekend.
Easter weekend, Op Merlin. And where's that being held at, gents?
Merlin's the one at Camp Sparta.
Camp Sparta, right? Cool. Noted.
I'll see if I can get the image downloaded quick enough that I can flash that up at the end as well.
Thank you.
Because that's pretty cool one with the gas mask and stuff. I like that.
The GSR on it, yeah.
Yeah. Regardless,
if any of the guys can figure out what it says across the GSR, then well done. Good luck to you.
Regardless says, what about snipers? Can they carry assault for small firefights to retreat, etc.?
I was in like a secondary, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, snipers. Snipers can play events. One of the things that, you know, as James was talking about, if you're a sniper on task force, you're going to be part of like a section, and that section are going to be tasking. Would you, as a sniper in a rural 24, 36 hour event, walking around your ghillie suit and a sniper rifle with your section of 8, would you have carry enough stuff to sustain yourself and be effective in a firefight? Probably not. If you're going out as a lone sniper, not for to try and pick off task force, same again, we've got a loose structure, but it's more structured than you just going out shooting the guys in multicam. If you are coming along with a friend and you're part of a team and you wanted to do a reconnaissance role and use your optics and your gun in a reconnaissance role and contribute towards that as part of an event, talk to us. Definitely talk to us.
Cool, nice.
So it was our event in September, Archer, where we had a scenario based where we had to put snipers out on the ground to overwatch an area while Op4 were carrying out, you know, we had a drone overhead and we had snipers and they were our only eyes on what was going on, and that was it. So yes, we do utilize snipers, certainly. But I don't think it's fair to say that if you come along with your sniper rifle, you'll get to use it like you would on a skirmish field. Okay, you have to act as part of a team, whether if that's in a reconnaissance role, right? If you've opted for that, then we need to first of all make sure that you're capable of that role. Okay, because sorry to be rude, but your 4-hour skirmisher cannot do 24 hours in the field unsupported. Okay, so you know, signals, communications, you need to be a valued asset, otherwise pick up your M4 and join a section. So it is a difficult one. Yes, we are certainly open to it if you've got the skill set to back it up, or we will put in scenarios where it will be useful to you.
Right. Okay. So let's say, for example, so within an 8-man section, you had a sniper and a spotter. So you've got a sniper and a DMR as a twosome. Would it be fair to say that within that 8-man section, if they were out in the AO, you could then, as a team leader, like for me, for example, I could send you guys off as a 2-man to recce if we played it that way, rather than just saying, well, I'm a sniper on my own, I'm going to fuck off and do what I want.
Absolutely.
If they were within that section and you utilise them in that way, would that sort of change?
Yeah, definitely. One of the clever ways to do that is you're out as a section, you see 6 guys or 8 guys moving. you're not quite sure who the section are because they're all in the same sort of camouflage. If they're spotted by Op 4 and two guys drop down, go into the gillies, go into that row, and the other section patrol round and move off, Op 4 are you hopefully can lose those two guys in the ground. If you've got sustainment, water, food, and comms back to you guys and utilize that, yeah, perfect. That's the way that we would want to use that, because if we know we've got that asset within a team of 8 guys coming to one of our events, yeah, we'd send you out, do that patrol, drop those two off, you'd gain intel, you can like patrol round, continue patrol, pick them up later on as well if you want, support them. You could leave them in the ground and take out more sustainment gear to them later on. But we would trust the other 6 of you to look after them and make sure that they were like looked after on the ground. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, but, you know, even like approaching building sections or something like that. You know, dropping your sniper off and his spotter and your LMG gunner as a FSG group, or your other remaining sort of 5, 6 go in. To be able to, as like an RV emergency RV point, that's got that covered for you as you pull back out of a village area or something like that. Yeah, perfect, good, cool. I like the sound of that.
This is this next question. I'm just gonna forewarn that I think it's silly Gilly being a bit controversial about a recent post that's come out. But he says, "Hey, I really like the sound of these events. Would you allow a Gilly to use an AEG? Not intending to, just wondering." So for anyone that doesn't know, Imperium came out earlier in the week and basically just put a rule down that says, you know, they don't want Gillies, LMG gunners or AEGs. You know, they ultimately they want Gillied sniper rifles as bolt action. Which, to be fair, is perfectly in their prerogative. And the idea is that
that's up to them. But what if you wanted to do reconnaissance?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Kevin
I think they're aiming it at the skirmish days more than like their MilSim events if they held them.
Slightly different, isn't it? I mean, Kevin and I have done 24 plus events in leaf suits, gillies, whatever you want to call them, to do reconnaissance. Have fired 1 shot, 2 shots all weekend through AEGs because we were in reconnaissance, not sniping. So yeah, no problem with you doing that. Yeah. I think it's fair to say that
Silly Gilly's just being a little bit.
He's having a poke, isn't he? Yeah,
he's having a cheeky poke.
Yeah, that's it. That's all right. We're more open than that. We if you want to do something, as long as it is in the spirit of military simulation, and I hate that term, but as long as it is in that spirit, it's not a problem.
No, that's a fair one. Yeah.
Cool. I'll come back to the MilSim thing in a minute as well, because there's an interesting video by Random Trashy from the Heresy group that I wanted to just briefly talk about you with. But regardless, he's pressuring me. He says, I play with these guys, Mike and Fox. They know me. Hope they can say a word for me. And he says, Mike and Lance, can you give a word for me? So presumably you guys know regardless.
No, not a clue.
Oh, okay.
No,
regardless, Mike. We know regardless from the.
I know him. Yeah, I wasn't sure if these guys did.
Yeah, I think it's shoehorning in putting in a good word for him as he's a sniper at the Defiant Events if he goes to them. Well, we've got to go yet, regardless, mate. Regardless, we've got to go to one yet.
Alexander's asked, do you require specific weapons for Task Force or Op 4? No AKs on Task Force, for example.
No, we haven't. I had done in the past, but again, it's just in the spirit of getting into character. You know, we don't allow 2-tones, race guns, stupid G&G,
binary triggers,
paintball-y type things. No, it's got to look realistic. If you are filling the role of a UKSF or US Special Forces guy, you should be carrying a weapon that portrays that. Now, if your primary gun dies and your backup is an AK, not got a problem with that. But generally, fulfill the role that you are meant to be playing.
Yeah,
that's a fair one.
In literally the same breath, we don't say.
Oh, I think his internet's farted.
He's gone.
Yeah,
I think I could probably say an Op 4 don't have to have AKs, because if you look around the world and you look what after happened in Afghanistan, they have now ended up with more Western weaponry and a higher number of weapons and armed soldiers than probably most NATO armies. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're not wrong, Kev. Absolutely. Yeah. I think he's back. James is back.
Op 4
He's back.
don't have to have AKs. You know, they
I
can
am back,
use
yeah.
what would be in a situation. Yeah, he's back.
I am
Cool,
sorry.
cool. What,
I was getting so into it that the internet died.
Exactly that, yeah. Well, just to quickly flip that on his head, then, you know, to be a bit controversial. What if someone was an Op 4 player 99% of the time, but fancied trying his hand at sort of like the NATO JTF, but he only did have an AK? Would you sort of, do you know what I mean? If he still conducted himself accordingly as a sort of a JTF player, would that be all right, or is it borrow one from your mate?
In general, we would like to be. We would like to enable anybody to come along and play the event in the way that they want, as long as it's not to the detriment of others or to the immersion, right?
Yeah,
Fine.
yeah, I'm with you.
You want to come along and do some task force stuff. If you've only got an AK, I'm not going to say no. I'm just going to say, stick an EOTech on it. You know, yeah, I'm joking, but you know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, fair one.
Yeah. I suppose if you then start looking at like NATO countries, you've got, say, Czechoslovakia, wearing multicam, carrying AKs and whatever else, or AK variants. So, you know, from that whole NATO type Western look, yeah, it's not an issue at all. It's not an issue. You know,
Yeah,
if you were sitting there with a really, really off multicam that looked like something that could be construed as green, then, and with your AK, don't. You know, for instance, one of the camouflage, and this might cause controversy, we've put multicam Tropic on Op 4 because it's predominantly green. So our task force multicam is more tan. So that would be one colour of kit that we've put towards that one side because it fits in with that green base tone for Op 4.
Yeah,
so yes, you know, people have got it in the SEAL team, they see it with the Navy SEALs and so forth, but for us, it has caused PID issues. Or not PID sort of situations.
I mean,
so
it still does, especially under nods. Multicam looks like multicam, whether it's multicam dark, as in multicam black, tropic or whatever. But you have to be a little bit allowing. Yes, I said multicam dark. That's the thing.
Well, that rolls quite nicely into the next question from Andy. Do you do night ops?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool.
We do.
Good answer.
24-hour, 36-hour. So if the question is, do we do night only ops, as in start in the evening and end in the early hours of the morning, we haven't yet. I don't think there is a great demand for it at this time. So we did an 8-hour event the other week. Would we do an 8-hour event overnight? If the site was up to it, maybe. If they allowed pyro all the way through the night, maybe. And if there was a demand for it, we might do. At the moment, I haven't identified that demand. But so I'm just assuming that that was your question there.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Also back to that question,
answer,
Bill.
sir.
For the 36-hour dog tag, there's 2 nights of night games for players for that event. So if that's what someone's interested in, that's the event to look at for us. If you've not played one of our events before, if you want night games, that's your opportunity to do 2 night games of Airsoft and have your day event. In June as well, it's going to be like 2 weeks from the longest day. So it's going to be quite short nights and it's going to be bright at 5 in the morning, but you're going to get your sort of 11 o'clock to 4 pitch black for your nighttime games on 2 nights that weekend.
Yep, nice.
Cool.
Hope for it to be summertime again soon.
Oh, please, yeah.
Lance, have you got any other questions? I could just keep going to the chat. I was just
just catching up with the chat now. Yes, mate. Do you have restrictions there for the television? Yeah, that was an interesting one there from Dan. Regarding obviously you've spoken about obviously your base colours for your camo patterns, things like that. But with regards to your PLCE, you know, your plate carriers, your chest rigs, would they be a requirement to be the same like OD greens for like your Op 4s and then obviously your multicams for your NATO, or can you use like an OD green chest rig on NATO but still have your multicam base colours?
So to date, we have not. We've allowed you to carry your fighting order, so your plate carrier chest rig can be any colour to date. That might be changing for Red Tide. Okay, so I'm throwing that out there.
Fair play.
PID seems to be an issue. Yeah, because PID seems to be an issue. More for Task Force than Op4. I think Task Force would like to. I mean, we tried putting Op4 in bright orange a couple of weeks ago. Still, PID seems to be an issue for Task Force. Don't know how. Really, I don't know how. But yeah, we'll see how we go. Yes, that is a jab at a couple of teams out there. You know.
That's a shame. I thought they were going to come back. That's them. They're not coming back now. Thanks, James. You know? James is not the business manager of Defiant, as you can tell.
No, I don't do customer services. I tell the truth. There's
he's
a
not
difference.
part of that department.
Yeah, swiftly removed from that department.
But yeah, we may be looking to. We may be changing up the requirements for load carrying equipment soon. Okay.
Right. Okay.
We're not going to make it too obtuse, you know, or too difficult, but yeah, some changes.
Majority of our events are based on the base color clothing. Red Tide, without giving too much away, we are looking at sort of DA and Special Forces area and 2 cartels. So there's 3-4 groups there, so there may be restrictions put in there as well. But if you want to come to that event and you've only got green plate carrier, there's probably still 2 options for you to play on for that event. But you may be restricted from one of those options, but not all of them.
Yeah, no, that's a fair one. I mean, obviously, yeah, and like you've just said there, as soon as you start bringing in perhaps sort of 3 or 4 factions with varying sort of colours or base colours of what you've got to stick to, like you said, for PID, if there's too much cross polarity of colours, oh well, I've only got this, but I'm wearing that base, and well, he's got that, and he's wearing this, and it's just like, well, it can become a bit of a colour bomb.
At the same time, I think PIDing a target is part of military simulation. You can expect to do that, right? If it was clear cut who was enemy all of the time, might as well go and wear coloured armbands. You know. So let's keep that complexity. Let's keep that thought process. You know, we want thinkers, not plinkers.
Oh, I like that.
I like that phrase. Oh. That's a patch, isn't it?
That's a good one.
Oh, that's got to be on the flag of the next campaign slogan, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thinkers, not plinkers is one that I've thrown about a few times. But yeah,
nice.
That's one for Afraid of the Dark, isn't it? Yeah.
Or kinetic raid cult. No, it'll be. Oh, I don't know. Put them in competition. One of them can have it.
Competition between those boys.
First person to pay me a few quid can have the phrase.
What was that PayPal again? I've got it saved.
So you mentioned obviously the sorry, you threw me with the phrase. I was just so amazed by it. I was like, it's brilliant. People who have been following your Instagram, which I'm just going to throw below, just because fancy graphics and all that.
Oh, well done.
But what's with the
Nathan's taking notes on this.
Yeah.
So the orange T-shirts, the event that we did a couple of weeks ago, or a week and a bit ago, that was Tungsten. It was based in a Serbian prison. Okay, the task force were delivering a very high value individual into custody. Okay, awaiting shit weather to pass effectively, and we did have some shit weather before they could do an extraction. The inmates orchestrated a breakout in order to get this high value individual out of the prison, break them out. They failed in the end, and task force did manage to extract that individual. But yeah, that's why they were in orange, is because they were all inmates that managed to get hold of riot and police kit effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, it was quite interesting. I've never seen people running around in such bright colours at an airsoft event, and it was an interesting contrast on my Instagram feed. It's like, oh, okay, that's quite cool.
I think it looked quite good in a weird way, you know. Yeah, so
almost like an apocalyptic look to it. Some of the images I saw coming up,
yeah.
So all of the T-shirts were printed up with inmate across the back. I've still got loads left, got loads of them. So check out my eBay. There'll be inmate T-shirts going.
Might buy one and then just take a day trip, stand outside Wormwood for a bit, and just see if anyone comes out and picks me up.
But yeah, no, my wife's nicked one for wearing as a pajama top because they're all in triple XL. We got some big T-shirts, just
Nice.
one size fits all, as it were. Guys were tying them in knots, and I did kind of expect to see a bit more T-shirt modification. Like I thought, we've got some particularly ridiculous guys that join our op for Blackthorn. I was expecting some of them to be cut off and worn as mini skirts or what have you, but yeah, it didn't quite happen.
Some crop top going on, so.
Yeah, we saw them tied in knots around.
We did get the crop top. We did get the crop top. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I think that. Should tell you what, his kit. So he wore little short shorts and T-shirt tied in. If he'd worn a thong with a little whale tail above his arse, that would be brilliant.
He'll take that as a challenge. He will take that
as a challenge.
Challenge accepted.
He's on eBay right now trying to find it.
He tried to wear Crocs, and we told him that wasn't quite appropriate. Like, because we're a lover of Crocs, right? Crocs smocks, Crocs socks and windproof smocks is a thing for us, but not when you're running around in a prison.
No, absolutely.
Oh, Silly Giddy asks, it's an interesting question to ask these guys as we were talking about too many LMGs in the section, etc. What makes something OP?
OP as in observation?
Overpowered.
The point at which we get too many complaints about you. No.
Well, I mean, that's a fair point.
It's a fair statement, right? Really?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess, but it's all about playing the event with other people's enjoyment in mind, as well as your own. You know, not saying, "Oh, I need to go out and beat these guys. I need to get the upper hand. I need to do this and this." No, it's about fair play. If you're beating another team, it should be about your communication, your skill set, you know, your tactics, not because you carry more ammunition.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that one, mate.
In terms of rules of engagement and PIDs, bits like that. Sorry. Terry says, what about issuing teams with ROE cards?
Good shout. Hang on.
Hey, you know what to write down.
We stole that one. Thanks, Terry.
I'll tell you what, we'll trade that for the thinkers, not plinkers.
Yeah. So I see your phrase and I read you.
So we always issue ROEs. And okay, let's be a little bit realistic. At some point in the event, ROEs will go. Maybe. We might start.
The excitement factor takes over, doesn't it? A little bit?
Yeah, we might start bringing in teams of role play actors that will fulfill the role of civilians throughout. So even when teams are going a full-on gunnish, you know, there might be a team of civilians out there. So if you chuck a bang into a room, you might have a lot of civilian casualties to sort out. You never know. So yeah, but ROE cards I like the idea of. We do issue ROEs in the briefs. If you're then given, you know, so you do your first situation brief, your kind of main brief of the event, especially for task force. Well, only for task force, the only ones to get ROEs. Let's be fair. When you're going out on the ground, if you've got a set of orders, it will involve ROEs every time. But I do quite like the idea of ROE cards.
Yeah, nice.
Terry says he wants a free game.
Terry wants a free game for that one, James. So. We'll leave you to talk to Terry about that one.
You're getting there, Terry. Come up with a few more golden little nuggets, and
oh, don't tell him that. He will.
To us.
You never know. They might end up with an opening on the team.
Yeah. There we go. Job opportunity
which
already.
means you don't get any free games because you don't get to play.
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
You still come along.
So, with that being said,
just be there as your scared civilian.
Yeah, that's it. You can come along and be a petrified civvy. That's your free game.
He'd probably take that as well, actually, to be fair to him. So, Jensen, we've covered a lot of, obviously, your past, your present, What's the future hold for Defiant? Where do you guys see yourself going for? Obviously, this year into next year. Any sort of bigger plans you've got? Deep breath.
Kevin, do you want to head this one, or before I say something I
Right.
should?
So, right. I'll start off gingerly and pause and let you carry on if you want at that point as well. Okay, so we look out at the airsoft community. We look at those people doing, as we call, combat missions, or MilSim, as the term is generally used. And there's a lot of really good companies out there and using local sites, places like Camp Sparta, and then looking to move on to like MOD sites. As a business, there's a different level of insurance you need for different sites and things as well. But as you start to move up into that league, that level, you then start looking at taking Defiant onto, yes, we'll still use rural and airsoft sites because that's a definite part of the community, but you then start looking at MOD sites. So our ultimate goal is to move Defiant onto MOD sites and to offer events on those sort of sites for our players and the community. And yeah, there's great companies out there doing that at the moment, and a good events booked for this year. And that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to expand and grow into that area.
Yeah, that's it. One simple word is growth. Okay, we broke out. So we'd run one or two events under Defiant prior to, what was it, 2021. But we have expanded since then. We've expanded our internal teams. We've expanded our range of friends and supporters. Growth, simply. We're not going down. You know, we're not staying at the level we're at. We are moving up. I'm not giving any specific details away, but that's it.
Yeah.
No, fair play, mate. That's good. Good to hear. We wish you all the best. We really do.
Thank you.
I do wish that there was a privately owned Fibula or just something like that. Just, I think if any airsofter properly wins the lottery, just honestly, just buy a load of land.
That's my plan.
Yeah, just
it's also
build
plan
some buildings on it
as well.
or buy like a small town in Wales and just run that as an urban training centre or whatever.
Or buy Wales,
rent it to the army if you need to.
Just buy Wales.
I'm not getting into if we won the lottery conversation, all right? Because I could be here for hours.
We can't say we have to buy Wales because Paulus Wales is on the chat, so I don't want to offend you.
No, that's all right. I know Paul would be included in the sale, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Caretaker or something.
Caretaker. Official hedge trimmer of Wales.
Yeah, I now make you head of Wales. Well done.
So I want to come back to just briefly. I don't know if you guys follow the Heresy group stuff at all, but there was an interesting video. Or
camera's gone off. No, it's my camera.
There was an interesting video that Tim posted recently, which was saying that he finds that there aren't a lot of proper MilSim events. Now, you said you didn't like the term military simulation. That last just disappeared completely now. So what would you kind of class your events as then? Like, do you agree that there's not like a proper definition of MilSim, or do you feel that we're kind of covering it and maybe there's scope for growth in that area?
I think it depends on what your definition of military simulation is. Oh look, it's back up top. Right, we're back to normal. So yeah, I think it depends on what your definition of military simulation is. To me, it's realistic objectives, a proper command and control structure, and defined structure, be it sections or platoons, etc. Okay, in a nutshell, that's a very brief version. I'm sure there's loads more I can tack onto that, but in brief, that's it. There are MilSim companies, or there are events out there that claim to do. Sorry, I don't want to offend anyone, but there are places out there that put on MilSims that is turn up. We'll give you have to play with mid-cap. You've got an ammo limit. It's a MilSim, and that's not quite how we feel that a MilSim should be. And that's what it boils down to, for me anyway.
How about you, Kevin?
Yeah, I think James is right. The other thing is, well, he's given a sort of more of a task force centric viewpoint there as well. I think a lot of MilSims opt for become a target package, which I don't think is fair on them because they're paying the same money as your task force multicam players as well. So we try to give task force that element of like a role play, that element of objectives they achieve as well. So they're on an equal footing. They're not just there to be targets of task force or to annoy task force, which is the most annoying version I think of opt for, when they're just going to be literally annoying.
You annoy me when I'm on task force, so
yeah,
sorry.
That's just fun, mate. That's just fun, yeah, I think it's like I think when we sort of put together the current sort of group of guys that is Defiant as well, kind of lockdown one and chatting during that time as well. I took the term combat mission. There was a TV program way back because I'm the oldest person on this call tonight, and it was combat missions. The guy Scott Elvison, who was a Navy SEAL, he was actually killed in one of the bridges in Fallujah with Blackwater, and it was lots of scenarios. And I think we bring those scenarios into it. And I like that term of combat mission rather than MilSim because, yeah, everyone's understanding of MilSim and interpretation of MilSim is completely different. And we don't ban the word because it always comes up, but we're trying to give everyone a really good experience, a combat mission. There will be combat in it. You will get to fire your gun because we all bought these guns to play Airsoft and shoot people. Right. But we'll try and put it in a situation, a country, in a context that will just give you a little bit of escapism, a little bit of immersion, and you'll work with other people as part of a team to lead towards everyone's enjoyment. Because all four have got to enjoy it, as task force got to enjoy it as well. So it's up to us to create an event that everyone is hopefully going to say, we enjoyed that Defiant event, we want to come back. You guys have heard about us, you want to come to one of our events because hopefully you've heard good things in the past from our previous players on both sides. So yeah, I don't like the term MilSim. It's too there's too many opinions about MilSim is, I think.
But not only that,
that's why we use combat missions.
I find that the word MilSim has got negative connotations about it, especially if you're breaking into the sim. It can be quite elitist. It can be quite obstructive and quite nasty. We want to welcome absolutely everybody to our events, whether you've been in the sport for 25, 30 years like Kevin, or whether you're new to the game, we will try.
I'm still shit, I'm still shit,
We're all shit, mate. That's it. that's why we run events. We will try to the best of our ability to cater our event or the taskings that you're given to your ability. Will we always get it right? Certainly not. But we will try not to overwhelm you. If you're new, we will try and nurture you and get you up to a point where you can achieve the tasking that you've been given. However, if you're coming to us and you're an old hat and you're well experienced and you've done 1800, we will give you a challenge. That is what we aim to achieve. So
I mean, for me, I think MilSim, it's just, I mean, ever since for me, I've been airsofting for sort of like 7 years ish now, just about. And that was sort of like the first thing I heard about with MilSim. I mean, I only done a couple of skirmish sort of days before I sort of started thinking about doing weekend events or MilSims as it was known then. I think it's just genuinely used, probably wrongly, to describe weekend events. Whereas I'm going to an airsoft event this weekend. It sort of morphs, and I'm going MilSim this weekend. I mean, I've done it myself. Although you're not going to a MilSim, it just becomes that turn of phrase where it's, MilSim in this weekend. Or MilSim in a couple of months' time.
You're not going on a walk-on.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
It's
MilSim. I'm going MilSim in a couple of weeks' time.
I think, to be honest with you, we do LARP with airsoft guns. I think that's the best description. It is live action. You get to fulfill a role of your own design. Especially if you're OPFOR, you get to do your own backstory. You can pretend you're a builder for the weekend. Builder picked up an AK. you know, freedom.
What did you do this
whatever you-
weekend? I pretended I was a builder.
Well, you know what? So that
No,
I
no, I fully get what you mean.
it's LARP with an airsoft gun.
Yeah.
That's a better description than MilSim. No,
Mm.
we're doing LARP soft. Sod it. Let's make it happen. LARP
Well,
soft
I mean,
is the thing.
just to bring, obviously, you guys touched on this, your sort of relationship with SEO with Terry earlier, and he said the same thing previously when we spoken to him about MilSim. He believes, he doesn't think there is the client base for a MilSim event to get the enjoyment out of it. If you've done an airsoft event that was actually, you know, scale
What you
1
mean,
to 1
like an FTX with an airsoft gun?
for a MilSim, like an actual military exercise type event for airsoft,
With
said
an airsoft.
you would not get the enjoyment of.
I think not only would they not get enjoyment, I don't think you'd get a lot of customers.
Exactly.
Right? And let's be honest, if you don't get the customers doing it, or sorry, customers, players, you know, let's be more centric there. If you don't get the players doing it, then we can't succeed. You know, we have to build events that people want to do. All right.
I mean, the turn of phrase that you used there,
growth.
Kev, combat missions, I think that's a great way of describing it. Combat missions, you know, I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? Really, essentially, there's no other way of dressing it up. That is it. You know, you're on a mission, there will be combat involved. There you go. You know, perfect.
Yeah,
I have to be honest.
I like it. I like it. Yeah.
I watched Tim's video. I think it was very good. I think he made some very valid points. Not all of them I agreed with, but he did make some very valid points. Have things become diluted over time? I wouldn't say so. If you're capable of it, you will be set out the tasking that will challenge you. Right? We've got some guys that come to our events that are extremely capable. I'm not going to name them because they don't like being named, but they're extremely capable and they help us out an awful lot. If they wanted to come and do, you know, a reconnaissance role within our event, they would have no problem spending 36 hours in a wet hole in the ground. You know, they would build an OP. They would do all of that work, and they would fulfill that role perfectly. All right, they would have a very hard weekend. If you've got the capability to do it and you want to do it, talk to us. Simple as that. We'll write it up for you. We'll put that in.
See, I think that was the takeaway I took away from Tim's video, was that MilSim to me means that you're pushing yourself, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be pushing myself the same I would be, that other people would get pushed. You know, if someone, I am definitely not the peak airsofter or MilSimmer or anything like that. I vaguely can stand up sometimes. I'm stumbling around. I've got my featherweight M249 that people are taking the piss out of me for, you know. But, you know, I mean, ultimately, some events, I feel like I'm pushing myself a lot more. You know, I throw myself over walls and do stupid things.
Well, it's your personal challenges, isn't it, for yourself?
That
your
to me is what
self.
MilSim is. It's that, you know, I'm still challenging myself. So, yeah, it was just an interesting one. I thought I wasn't going to spend a whole podcast talking about it, but I thought it was a.
I completely agree with you. Then, yeah, that makes sense. The challenge is what you make of it. If you want to drive that much further, you know, if you want to tell the DS that you want to do something, you know, harder, you want to go that bit further, you want to do that bit more, you want to stay out on patrol that much longer, then tell them. I don't know a single event organizer that will say, no, you have to go back to your harbour area and get a cup of tea on. You know, we'll say, might say that because we've got some plans coming up, but, you know, give it a couple of hours down the line, we will up your challenge. You know, I think as long as we don't overwhelm people.
It's like you said, Lance, as well. It's like, you know, you've got a team of 8 guys and 2 want to do that sniper recce role. You come to us with that as well. We can give them the experience they want. There will be Civ stuff they will see during an event, which will be reporting that back in, and they won't know what it is. there will then be all of a sudden something they will see which they will have to radio back. Now, if they're a good enough sniper spotter pair that you've dropped off, they might clock it. If they're not good enough, they might miss it. So maybe 30 minutes later, the same thing will happen again. Hopefully they see it the second time, and we will build that in. Now, you know, a lot of things would be on a regular time basis of a sentry moving round. So if you generate that pattern from a not for point of view, that task force see the routine so they can get in somewhere, you know, that's when you look at the documentaries, when you look at the films, that's the standard stuff that people see. That's what people's perception of military is. We can simulate that for you at our event if you want to come and have that type of role.
I think
that's cool, mate. Definitely.
As event organisers, we won't always get it right with challenging the guys, but that's what we aim to do.
You can't, James. You can't please everybody all the time, mate. It's
No.
impossible, isn't it? You know.
One of the things that I'll do is I'll rock around on a Friday night, Saturday morning. I will. It sounds bad, but I will judge teams based on their personal administration. If there's shits everywhere, they're not squared away, you know, then they're less dependable. You know, those guys that have been doing it for a long time, they know how to square themselves away. You know, that's a really good indication of who's been at it and who the guys that we need to up it. You know, for those guys, the guys that have got their stuff spread out all over the place. You know, there's a bottle of BBs that's fallen on the floor, and they've got a pile of white shit all over the ground. We will help them.
That is me.
That's it. We will help them.
James, help me.
Well, apart from Kevin, yeah. Can you program my radio?
I'm beyond help.
Right, we're coming to sort of the end of the podcast. I'm just going to slap through a few questions. So Regardless says, in terms of new players to Defiant MilSims, are old players getting more pew than the new ones, and the newer ones stand on stag a lot?
Yeah, new ones just stay on stag. We don't move them. There's
no point in new. Well, they don't know nothing, do they?
No, absolutely not. Everybody gets the same opportunity. Okay, when we talk about challenging guys, we're not necessarily talking about putting them in firefights. We're talking about giving them things to think about, things to do that are slightly more difficult and designed for their skill sets. Not, you know, everybody will get their gun on. Everybody will have to do stag, all right? If stag is a requirement. But no, it's we don't give you duff jobs until you prove yourselves. We will challenge everybody.
Cool.
It's a strange one
says,
on stag.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say on stag, it's one of those strange things. It's like the first time you do it and you get up and you put your kit on. What you forget if you do stag in the middle of the night is put extra layers of insulation on, because it's bloody cold when you do a stag. Because you've got a nice warm bed and you stand there.
And get one of your boys to drag out the jet boil or the Trangiers
and make you
whatever your preference is.
Oh yeah, don't say jet boil, say Trangia. You'll be kicked into the pit.
Are you sponsored by Trangia? You should be. Jeez.
Regardless says, I think Airsoft needs support from the army/government. Examples like the USA and Russia, etc. So yeah, that would be quite cool. But I don't know. I mean, Mike Brewer came back and sort of said, well, it's not going to happen when you've got all the idiots running around with riffs in the street. So obviously not going to be a good one. Terry says, adding to the ROE cards, you could have a policing team like the SIB.
Gotcha.
Terry, will you behave yourself?
Thanks, Terry. SIB, I love Terry. Right, okay.
I did message him, say PM me all your ideas, I'll pass them on for you. He's not listened to me.
Plagiarism is something that I'm well up for,
Yeah. Well, he's put it on a public forum, so it's entirely his own fault. So I wouldn't worry. Dan says, are there any other plans for games later this year after your June game? June event, sorry.
There may be, none of which we're talking about now.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
No, don't apologise.
Daniel Guest says, for us OG Defiant players, please get T-shirts done. The slap pack was epic. What was the slap pack?
Oh, I will have to go get my penny case with a load of flaps on it. I'll tell you what.
Show that on a live stream.
No,
That's the important thing, you know.
No. So the slap stickers, you know, at our last event, we included or sold slap packs. So that we had a couple of Defiant Events slaps from our logos. We had a couple of different Defiant ones made up. One of them was actually me doing something quite weird. We threw in intriguing. we threw in some limited edition. Still got a few left. We threw in some Afraid of the Dark ones. That might be a mirror image of it. Hang on, there you go. We threw in some Afraid of the Dark ones, some Kinetic Raid Cult ones. So yeah, little pack of stickers and patches went together, and we sold that as a little memento. If there was a demand for T-shirts, we could collaborate with one of many people to do that. If there is a demand for it, yeah, we could do T-shirts. We were thinking about doing a Red Tide one just because we like that image so much.
Yeah, I'll definitely be down for that, 100%.
If we do that, if we do that, it will be like a you'd have to order it on a what's the word?
Like a pre-order type thing.
Yeah, like a pre-order, so that we
know,
so that we know exactly how many we need to order, right? And it'd be prepaid.
That's the
in
problem with
advance.
merch. You end up buying a load of it and then you can't get rid of it.
Yeah. So yeah,
like
the bloody
Mike,
orange.
Yeah. I was going to say, if anyone wants to buy any of our patches, just send us a message.
Yeah,
So
them fox thongs are falling on their asses.
So yeah, if we did it that way, we know exactly. Yeah, we take the payment on the website and then go and order your T-shirt and give it to you on the day when you turn up. That's something that we could look at doing.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sure that our merchandise and media guys love me blurting this kind of shit out because they just know that their life's about to get busy.
Although I must admit, Instagram's not. Sorry, WhatsApp's a little bit quiet.
Yeah,
I was expecting to go bing, 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 bing.
So normally when we're on a live, we just see our own WhatsApp messages pinging across the top, and they've been quiet for a little while. So either they've gone to sleep, or they're intrigued by what we're saying.
You just get a lot of shush emojis come up now, just like that. Just stop. Shush.
One of them's about to be on a plane to Tenerife, so he's off. But the others, God knows what they're doing. In fact, Kevin, we ought to go and check in on the children.
Yes, Daddy.
Going back to the comments from the Heresy group, Afraid of the Dark says the scene isn't dead yet. But they also say there's too many whinging bastards get upset if you use the phrase. So.
Back in your box, Nathan. Look, if you wanted to share an opinion, you had the opportunity to jump on a live.
Someone say Jetboil.
oh, Jetboil, bless him. He got a brand new Jetboil before Op Archer, and his missus dropped him off at the event. This was on the Friday before. He was, he's part of our team. He's helping us set up, and he got his gear out the car. And his missus went, all right, bye-bye, and put the car in reverse and ran over his Jetboil.
Oh,
like
no.
Brand new Jetboil, yeah.
Oh,
so he's basically hammered it back into the best shape he can with a brick. And to be fair, it's one of the most MilSim things I've ever seen. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's hardened and weathered now, isn't it?
Yeah, it almost takes up less space because of the amount of dents it's got.
And
it's
probably quite, you can probably just slide a ball in the bag mill in the top of it now, probably quite nicely.
Like a letter box.
Just going to post my dinner.
I mean, it's shit for a cup of tea. It just goes round your face. But
less of a Jetboil and more of like a propeller simmer.
Yeah, you got some pressure built up in it now.
It was quite funny. I'm not sure who copped more shit for that, him or his missus, but he did put it down right behind the car. In fairness,
I was thinking then his missus probably come back was stupid place to fucking put it, isn't it? Really?
Well, she had only recently passed her test, so it was her first kill, like legitimate.
First legitimate kill. Good stuff.
Yeah, if you go onto our website, you can actually message us through that. We've got Facebook, we've got a Facebook page, we've got Instagram. If you've booked into one of our events, you'll be in WhatsApp with us. There's loads of ways to get in touch with us. But yeah, the preferred is through our website, if you could. We all have day jobs, unfortunately. I'd love that we didn't, but we all have day jobs. So just if you've got a question, be prepared that we might not answer straight away.
Just for the podcast listeners, the website is www.defiantevents.co.uk. That's www.defiantevents.co.uk. Not, and I'd just like to add, Deviant Events that Andy looked up earlier.
That sounds fun.
That's not your site. And the let's put it this way: they have the slogan "Swinging Lifestyle." So there we go.
Deviant Events. Yeah, make sure you don't get out and put on a fucking t-shirt.
Yeah, don't mix up your words. Dyslexic Lives Mattress.
Yeah. I knew that was coming.
That's another slap waiting to happen. Dyslexic Lives Mattress.
Yeah. Was it Dyslexics of the World Untie?
Right, so we'll probably call that the end of the show. If anyone wants to get in touch with us, you can do so at nofochat@hotmail.com. Hang on, it's got off the screen. I'm going to have to wait for it to come back in because I can't remember all of our,
come on.
all of our socials. Sorry,
it was running slick up until then.
I know. Hang on, it's coming.
So
it's coming.
professional.
You can email us. You can email us at nofochat@hotmail.com. Our Instagram is @November_Foxtrot_NoFo. Our Facebook is @November Foxtrot NoFo. And our YouTube is youtube.com/C/November Foxtrot. And our website is www.novemberfoxtrot.co.uk.
Please ask a responsible parent or guardian before you get in contact.
Really need to shorten that.
I'm going to shorten it for next week. I'm not reading all those out again.
Just go to the website.
Contact us on our website. That's fine. There we go.
That's how we do it.
Guys, thanks ever so much for coming on, James and Kevin. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, it's been wicked.
If anyone wants to get in touch with them, feel free to hit up their socials, and we all look forward to the t-shirts when they come out.
Yes,
now we have to, do we?
You've got to do it now. You can't say that.
Yeah,
I thought
and the event as well, obviously.
I think the event's a little bit more important than t-shirts, but okay.
Wicked.
No, good stuff, James. Thanks very much.
Lance, say goodbye.
Goodbye, Lance.
Thank you.
We'll see you all later. Cheers.